The airport was alive with its usual chaos. Rolling suitcases echoing across the marble floor, the hum of conversations blending with the distant announcements, and the scent of coffee wafting from a nearby cafe. Among the sea of travelers stood Emma Lawson, clutching a small cardboard sign that read Mr. Callahan in bold black letters. Her fingers trembled slightly, not from fear, but from the uncertainty that came with doing something she hadn't planned. That morning, she wasn't supposed to be at the airport at all. She was supposed to be at her modest apartment in downtown Chicago, catching up on freelance work, sipping her second cup of coffee. But her sister Hannah had called in tears, explaining she was stuck in traffic 2 hours away and couldn't make the airport pickup for her boss's client. Emma, being the ever-loyal sister, agreed without hesitation. It was supposed to be simple: a name, a handshake, and a polite drive to a hotel, nothing more. She didn't know that the wrong man would soon walk up and change everything she thought she knew about love, chance, and destiny. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the beauty of unexpected moments, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring more real, emotional stories like this to life. Emma adjusted the sign, glancing nervously around the bustling terminal. The arrivals board flashed flight numbers in glowing yellow letters. She tried to appear confident, though her heart thumped with the quiet anxiety of someone out of place. She'd never been the type who liked being noticed. While Hannah was bold and social, Emma preferred the background: quiet mornings, long walks, sketching cityscapes from park benches. Just as she exhaled to steady herself, a tall man in a dark overcoat approached. His stride was confident, his expression calm but weary, the kind of exhaustion that comes not from lack of sleep, but from carrying the weight of too many responsibilities. His eyes met hers, sharp yet kind, and for a split second, time seemed to still. "You must be Mr. Callahan," she said with a small, polite smile, extending her hand. He returned the smile, faint but genuine. "That's me." It was that simple. No one corrected the mistake. No one realized that the man standing in front of her wasn't the Mr. Callahan her sister's company was supposed to pick up. He was another traveler, another businessman, fresh off a late flight, heading into a city that had lost its warmth long ago. As they walked toward the parking lot, snowflakes began to drift from the gray Chicago sky. Emma led him to the car, chatting lightly about the cold, the city's traffic, and the holiday decorations already starting to appear downtown. He listened quietly, occasionally smiling, his eyes distant. He didn't say much, but when he did, his voice carried the kind of calm authority that made you want to trust him instantly. By the time they reached the hotel, Emma felt oddly comfortable. There was something different about him, gentle, yet undeniably strong. He thanked her for the ride and handed her a small business card with his name embossed in silver. Ethan Callahan, CEO, Callahan Holdings. It was only when she returned to her car that her phone rang, and Hannah's panicked voice screamed, "Emma, where are you? My client is furious. He's been waiting for over an hour." Emma's heart dropped. She looked at the card again, feeling her stomach twist in disbelief. "You mean, that wasn't him?" she whispered. That night, she barely slept. Guilt burned through her chest, but beneath it was something else she couldn't name, something that felt dangerously close to hope. Over the next few days, she tried to push the memory of Ethan aside, focusing on her work and apologizing endlessly to Hannah's firm. But fate, as if amused by her attempt to move on, had other plans. 3 days later, she received an unexpected call. Emma Lawson, the deep, steady voice on the other end, sent a jolt through her. "This is Ethan Callahan. I believe we met at the airport the other day. Quite by mistake." Her heart raced. He explained that he had discovered the mix-up when his actual driver called him later that evening. But instead of being upset, he sounded amused. "I should be angry, I suppose," he said softly. "But I'm not. It's been a long time since someone did something for me without wanting anything in return." Ethan invited her for coffee, insisting he owed her at least that much for the unintentional detour. Emma hesitated, unsure whether it was wise. But curiosity and something deeper, something she hadn't felt in years, pushed her to say yes. They met at a quiet cafe near the lake, where winter light filtered through the windows like silver dust. Conversation came easily, more easily than Emma had expected. Ethan shared fragments of his life, how he had built his company from the ground up after his father's passing, how success had cost him his peace, how loneliness had become his constant companion, despite the luxury surrounding him. Emma listened with a warmth and sincerity he hadn't encountered in years. She didn't care about his wealth or his reputation. She cared about his silences, his pauses, the quiet ache behind his words. Days turned into weeks. Coffee turned into dinners, and dinners turned into long walks through the city's cold streets, where laughter echoed between them like something fragile yet enduring. Emma began to realize she was falling for him, not because he was powerful or handsome, but because he saw her, truly saw her, in a world that often made her feel invisible. But love stories born from chance rarely run smooth. When Hannah discovered who Ethan really was, she was horrified. "Emma, do you have any idea what you've done? He's a client. This could ruin my career." The guilt returned stronger than ever, and for the first time, Emma considered walking away. Ethan, too, faced his own storm. His board of directors disapproved of his growing attachment to a woman beneath his social tier, as one of them cruelly put it. The pressure built, threatening to tear apart what had started so innocently. For days, Emma avoided Ethan's calls. She told herself it was for the best, that their worlds were too different, their connection too fragile. But every time she saw the sign she'd held at the airport still lying in her car, she couldn't stop thinking of him, of how that single mistake had brought light into both their lonely lives. Then one evening, as the first snowstorm of the season swept across the city, she found herself walking aimlessly through downtown Chicago. The streets glowed with holiday lights and the cold air stung her cheeks. She ended up outside Ethan's office building, not sure what she was even doing there. And there he was, standing just inside the glass doors, staring out at the snow like a man searching for something he'd lost. Their eyes met through the glass. For a long moment neither moved. Then Ethan stepped outside, his breath visible in the icy air, and said quietly, "You can't keep running from what feels real, Emma. I've spent my whole life chasing what I thought mattered, money, power, success, and none of it ever filled the emptiness. But you did." Tears stung her eyes. All the fear, the doubt, the guilt melted into something purer, stronger. She took a trembling breath and whispered, "I was just doing a favor for my sister Ethan. I didn't mean to meet you. I didn't mean for any of this to happen." He smiled faintly. Maybe that's how love always begins, when we least mean it. Snow began to fall harder, swirling around them like a curtain of white. The city noise faded, leaving only the sound of the wind and their beating hearts. Emma stepped forward, closing the distance between them. And in that moment, all the chaos of their separate worlds fell away. There was no wrong man anymore, no mistake. Just two people who had found each other in the most unexpected way. Weeks later, Emma found herself sitting beside Ethan at a charity gala, not as a guest from another world, but as his partner. Hannah, now smiling despite her earlier panic, had come to terms with it all, realizing that sometimes the best things in life come from the very mistakes we try so hard to avoid. Emma never forgot the lesson that day at the airport taught her. Sometimes life doesn't wait for perfect timing. It doesn't ask for permission or logic. It just happens, messy, unpredictable, but deeply, beautifully human. She had gone to the airport out of obligation, holding a name she didn't recognize. She left it holding onto a heart she couldn't imagine losing. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. It means more than you know. It helps us continue sharing stories that remind us all of love, hope, and second chances. Special request, comment below. Do you believe love can begin with a mistake? And as the final image of Emma and Ethan walking hand in hand through the softly falling snow fades to black, one truth lingers. Sometimes, the wrong encounter can lead us to exactly the right heart.